welcome to today's class. For today, no props are needed unless you have something that you typically like to practice with. Feel free to go ahead and grab what you'd like to use. Otherwise, go ahead and meet me in a seated position on your shins at the back of your mat. So tops of the feet are going to come to the mat, shins ground down into the earth, allowing your sit bones to settle onto the heels. If you did grab a few tops, now would be a good time to sneak something underneath your seat if you want a little bit more support. That's always available to you if you feel like that. We'll bring a little bit more ease to the start of your class. Otherwise, go ahead and rest your eyes to close. Give your body a moment to settle into your space. Thighs, shins, heels can all come to touch to give you a little bit more of a supported seat. And reach the crown of the head long and tall. Improving your resting posture here. And allow the palms to settle onto the thighs. Settling into your breath, feeling the expansion and recoil of the rib cage. Feeling a little bit more, a little bit deeper with each breath. With every inhale, feeling the rib cage expand front to back, side to side, and a gentle lift all the way to the top. Trying to get a deeper fill to each breath. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. Allow the right fingertips to come outside the right hip. Inhale, reach the left arm up and overhead, reaching towards the right side of the room. Keeping the chest facing towards the top of the mat, using the fingertips, or you can plant the hand to support yourself, keeping your side body open as you find space to the left side. Still breathing into that left rib cage. And then start to sweep the left arm down and across the mat, trying to find a different sensation along the left side body. And then the left arm's gonna come to the left side of the mat, fingertips or palm plants, and then right arm reaches up and over. Whatever hand placement makes you feel supported, keeping the left side body open, although it's shorter than the right. You still want to stay lifted, finding that expansion. So we're going to do that once more. So the right arm is going to come down, start to sweep across the front of the mat. Right fingertips are going to plant outside the right hip, and then the left arm is going to sweep up and over, reaching towards the side, opening up the left side body. Keeping the chest facing towards the top of the mat. Keeping that left sit bone anchored in towards the left heel. And go ahead and sweep back. Start to turn the chest down towards the ground as the left arm sweeps over and across. Right arm follows. Opens up towards the left side. Keeping that right sit bone anchored to explore as much space as you can through the right side body. Reaching the fingertips up and over that arc motion. And then we're going to sweep the arms across the body once more, but we're going to press the hips forward towards the end of that motion to expand the front side of the body. So the right arm is going to reach over and across the mat once more, but the fingertips are going to keep moving towards so that they're behind the right toes. And then the left arm's going to sweep up and overhead, expanding the front. Pressing the hips forward, opening the front of the hips, a little bit more in toward the torso. And then you're going to exhale, sit the hips back towards the heels. The left arm is going to sweep across the mat. The right arm's going to follow. The left fingertips are going to become behind the left toes. Sweep the right arm up and over, press the hips forward. a brief opening at the front of the hips. And then exhale, come back towards center. Hands come to heart center. Take a breath here. On the next inhale, you're going to press down through the shins and the tops of the feet. And then you're going to press the hips forward using the strength of your hips, your thighs, your glutes. You're going to sweep the arms down towards your hips and up and overhead, reaching up. Maybe reaching a little bit backwards to open the front of the body. And then exhale, sit down. Another round. Sweep the arms down, press the hips up and forward, grounding down through the shins to the tops of the feet. Arms up overhead. And exhale, sit low. Inhale, sweep the arms down, press through the shins, tops of the feet. Press your hips forward, engage the glutes, reach up tall. You don't even have to find a back bend here. You can just reach the fingertips up tall, pressing the hips forward, staying tall and strong. And then exhale, staying lifted, hands come to heart center. Go ahead and bring the right foot to flat. So you're going to be in a half kneeling position, so left foot stays where it's at. And then right hip and knee come into that 90-90. Anchor down through the left shin, the top of the left foot. And pull the left hip up and forward, engaging or finding that leg through the front of the left hip. And start to shift your weight forward and back. Tracking that right knee over the middle or the middle of the top of the foot or that big toe. So you're tracing that right knee over top of the big toe and coming back up. Moving a little bit deeper each round to explore your space from left to right. But just moving on that track, forward and back. We're going to explore some space in a few different positions. So just take note of the sensations that you're feeling within the hips, just moving in this linear direction. Keeping that left hip lifted, you'll feel a deeper sensation within the front of the left thigh, the further forward that you move. So be mindful of that position, the grounding through your left shin. To just explore that depth, explore that lengthening throughout the left leg. A few more rounds, maybe finding a few more holds here. And then come back to that tall kneeling position and then open the right leg to a more 45-degree angle. So that left leg is staying exactly where you're starting at. And then open the right hip about 45 degrees. So the hip, knee, and toes are all in that same line, that same trajectory together. And the left leg is still where it was starting from. And now we're going to shift our weight over. Same thing, tracking that right knee over the big toe, over the top of the foot. See how that sensation feels different for you in both the left and the right hip. You might start to feel a little bit more in the inner thigh on the right side. Keep your torso tall and lifted. And just work through the space in your hips here. As you transition out over your right foot, keep a gentle press of the outer edge of the right knee so you can keep that alignment, but also explore that space, explore that sensation a little bit deeper within the inner thigh. Just being a little bit more intentional about this exploration. But feel free to take it as deep or as slow or as fast as you'd like to explore what's available for you today. A few more rounds here. Again, feel free to hold in your space for as long as you'd like. If it feels good to hang out in that deeper position, feel free to hang out to that for as long as feels good for you. And then come back to that tall kneeling again. And then we're going to open the hip another 45 degrees. So those toes, so your right foot is now perpendicular to the edge of your mat. And so you're going to keep your hips facing forward this time, as much as you feel comfortable doing so. But you're going to keep a gentle press to the outer edge of the right knee. So you're still going to keep that right knee open as you shift your weight over. But you want to keep your torso facing forward as much as you can. And that'll explore that sensation within the inner thighs a little bit differently. You might feel a little bit of engagement in the outer hip. Continuing to ground down through the left shin, the top of the left foot. And stay grounded through the sole of the right foot. Keep the inner arch lifted, grounding down through that big toe. If nothing more than just to stay intentional throughout the entirety of the right leg. If you're feeling any tightness or compression within the front of the right thigh, feel free to come out of it a little bit more before you return back into that deeper position, that deeper flexion, that closing off of the right hip. Again, this is your time to just explore what's available for you in your body. Get to know yourself, know your joints a little bit better. Just by seeing what your capacity is in a very supported, slow-moving pose. Last one, hold it at that deepest point. And then go ahead and bring the right arm inside the right leg. So the fingertips, if you did bring a block with you to class today, you can always put the palm of your hand on a block just inside your right foot. But bring the fingertips just inside the inner arch, making contact between the inner edge of the knee and the elbow. So you're making that contact there. That's going to be your leverage point as you swing the left arm up and overhead, opening the chest towards the top of the mat. So we're in some kind of modified side angle here. So you're spinning the chest towards the top of the mat, right rib cage pulls under, left rib cage opens up. And you're using that contact between the arm and the inner edge of the leg to help press the body forward. Opening more so through the hip, through the chest, through the side body. Reaching the fingertips long on that arc towards the right side. One more breath. Stay long and lifted within the right side body, although we're finding a little bit less space there. Keep the lift by staying engaged and mindful through that right arm. And then we're going to sweep the arms over towards the left side of the mat. So as we do that, go ahead and spin the right heel towards the back of the mat so the toes are facing forward. And then you're going to sweep the left arm to the outer edge of the mat on the left side. The right arm sweeps up and over, coming into gate pose. So that left leg is staying grounded for us. Left fingertips, keep the left side body lifted here, opening through the right side, unwinding that compression. Breathing into that right rib cage. And then from here, go ahead and sweep keeping the legs where they are, sweeping the legs, the hands over towards the tips of the right toes. So finding a side body stretch now on the left side. Staying strong and lifted through the left leg. Keeping the breath deep and slow. And then go ahead and walk your hands back towards center. Plant your hands on the mat. Bring the right foot in towards the left. Walk your hands in a little bit closer to your legs. Come back into that tall kneeling. And then bring the left leg forward. And we're going to start on the left side, exploring the space on the opposite side. As we did before, we're grounding down through the right shin. Top of the right foot is pressing down into the earth, and you're lifting up through, all the way from the knee through the right thigh, up to the right hip. So that right hip is facing up and forward. And And then try to keep that line of tension as you shift the weight forward. See how that sensation changes within the front of the right hip. And then come back up. That grounding through the lower right leg is going to help with that stability as you shift your weight forward. Forward and back. So this narrow stance might feel a little bit unstable getting started, but knowing we're going to explore that space, open our stance a little bit more as we explore our movement here. Keeping the torso long and tall, reaching the crown of the head up, gazes forward. And take as many rounds as feels good for you. Again, you can hold as long as you prefer when you shift your weight forward. Maybe you shift your weight a little bit further back to explore that capacity there within the back of the left leg. Again, explore your movement within the hips here. We've been focusing more on that forward glide, that forward shift. But if you'd like to see how things are feeling, shifting your weight a little bit further backwards, feel free to explore that for the next few breaths. Go ahead and take that hold if you'd like for the last round. And come back up. Get yourself in a nice steady position and open that hip to about 45 degrees. Toes are starting to turn out just a little bit. They're following that trajectory of that angle. So hips opening up just a little bit. Knee is tracking over the top of the foot. Right leg is staying as it is. And then start to shift the weight over towards the left. Torso continues to stay forward. Everything continues to face forward. The left hip is the only thing that's opening up and changing its position. And with that being the only moving part, that'll help you explore the depth and motion of your hips a little bit more so. And side to side, things may feel a little bit different. So when I had my right foot out just earlier, I felt it a little bit more so in my right leg as I was moving a little bit deeper into that space. On this side, I'm still feeling, so my right side must be a little bit tighter today because I still feel it a little bit more so in the right when I open up. And that's just fine. You're still getting that mobility side to side. So we have those imbalances everywhere throughout our body. Some a little bit more obvious than others. So if you feel a little bit differently, just know that is completely normal. That is your body telling you where it's at today. And as before, keeping a gentle press to the outer edge of the knee as you translate forward and back. Just to keep that hip open. If the knee collapsed even just a little bit, that sensation could be lost. So keeping that gentle press, that gentle opening, keeping that throughout the movement, able to explore just a little bit more space. One more here. And come back up. Find your center, and then open the left hip just another 45 degrees. Gentle press the knee outward, keeping the torso facing forward as much as able, and then shifting the weight out and open. Staying grounded through the sole of the foot. Keeping that left knee tracking just over the top of the foot, top of the big toe. Probably gonna feel a little bit more engagement with the outer hip. And being able to shift your weight into this deeper position and press yourself out of it, you're really testing your strength at those different ranges, those different joint angles. So though you are in a very supported position here, you're just challenging your body in different ways. your last round, go ahead and hold it at whatever depth feels comfortable for you. Left arm comes inside the left leg. Grounding down through the fingertips, pressing the elbow into the inner edge of the knee, and then the right arm sweeps up and overhead, modified side angle. Keeping the chest lifted towards the top of the mat. Right fingertips reaching up and overhead to find that space within the right side. Using the contact between the elbow and the knee to turn the chest just a little bit more. Again, you can use the block here if you had one. But otherwise, if that's still a little bit too challenging to find that space and keep that hold, always feel free to bring the elbow up to the thigh. Didn't mention that on the other side, so I apologize for limiting that modification. But please feel free to rest wherever is most comfortable for one more breath. And then as the hands sweep over to the other side, spin the left heel back behind you so the toes are facing forward. Right fingertips come outside the right knee, and then the left arm sweeps up and overhead, finding gate pose. Pressing through the left foot, reaching all the way over to the right side with the left fingertips. Finding that space, opening the chest towards the front of the mat. Feeling that opening within the chest, the torso, and the left side body. And then start keeping their legs as they are, sweeping the arms back over to come towards the tips of the left toes. Finding space within the right side body here. Staying lifted and grounded through the right leg. You can sit the hips back on that backward diagonal towards the right heel. Find a little bit more space if that feels good for you. And then go ahead and bring the palms back towards the mat, and left knee comes in to meet the right. Go ahead and sit the hips to heels. Hands come to the thighs. And as we did before, we're just going to take a few rounds of our hip extension, so coming up onto our shins, pressing our hips forward. Just to open the front body uniformly here. So take a breath to yourself. And on your next inhale, press through the shins, through the tops of the feet, sweep the hands down towards your hips, press the hips forward, sweep the arms up and overhead. Inhale. And exhale, hands to heart center, sit the hips down. One more time, sweep the hands down, press through the shins, tops of the feet, hips come forward, arms come up overhead. And stay tall as the hands come to heart center. Right foot comes up, half kneeling position, and just shift your weight forward and back once more. Just to reacclimate and see how your face feels now that we've worked on both sides just a little bit. And then bring your stance just a little bit more, not narrow, but you can be really open with your right foot further forward on the mat. So bring that right foot in just a hair more so you're in a tighter 90-90 position. We're going to shift the weight a few times, just kind of building momentum because we're going to come up into a crouching warrior. So go ahead and tuck the back toes. That's going to be our little spring to help us transition forward. So on your next weight shift forward, press through the back toes, lift the back knee, shift the weight a little bit further into that right foot, lift the left leg, right knee stays bent. My hands are on my hips so you can reach the arms forward for a little counterbalance. Inhale, bring the left knee up and towards the chest. You're going to transition into a standing position. And keeping a slight bend in the right knee, drive the left knee up towards the chest. Bring the left leg over the right, crossing the legs, coming into eagle legs. So take that twist as much as you can. You can always pick stand the left toes. So find that twist. And then you're going to inhale the arms straight overhead. So we're going to have eagle legs, but traditional chair arms. So sitting the hips low. Finding that compression between the inner thighs, right to left to right. Keep that compression through the entirety of the leg. For 3, 2, 1. Come out of it, press that through that right foot. Drive the left knee up towards the chest. And then return to crouching warrior. Slight bend in the right knee. Left leg comes back behind you. Right arms reach forward. Toes drop down, left toes drop down to the earth. Tuck the toes, rebend the left knee. Tall kneeling position. Go ahead and bring the right leg down. Left leg comes up. Same transition on this side. Shifting the weight forward and back. Seeing how things feel. If you like this narrow stance, if you like working through this, feel free to stay here. If you want to open the knee just a little bit more to see how things feel, please feel free. We're going to take a few weight shifts to explore our space, to reacclimate to the left side as we get ready to transition to that same little bit. And so come into that tighter 90-90 to give you a weight shift with a little bit more ease. Tuck the back toes. Shift your weight just a few times. See how the back toes feel, getting them all tucked underneath. They're not going to take on much weight, but making the transition comfortable. Start to shift over the left foot. Tuck with those right toes tucked. Press through the back knee. Back knee lifts. Shift the weight forward a little bit more. Drag the right toes until they're ready to lift. Crouching warrior. Giving yourself a moment to find stability, grounding down through the big toe, arches lifted, fingertips reaching forward. Keeping a slight bend to the knee, bend the right knee as it drives up towards the chest, coming into standing. Giving yourself a moment to acclimate, to stabilize once more. Slight bend in the left knee, right knee drives up, across the body, so the right leg comes over the left. Find those eagle legs. Find as much or as little as you'd like. You can always kickstand. And then you're going to inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, sit low. Squeezing your thighs in towards one another, pressing the left knee out towards the left edge. So you can keep that hip open, the left leg strong. For 3, 2, 1. Press out of it. Drive the right knee up towards your chest. And then bringing the right leg back behind you, rebending the left knee. Arms reach out tall, crouching warrior. And then drop the right toes back behind you, keeping the toes tucked, rebend the right knee, knee comes back to the earth. Then hands come to heart center, left knee meets the right. Hips come to heels. And then from here, we're going to transition into downward facing dog. So hands are just going to come to the mat, tuck the toes, press the hips back, downward facing dog. First time we're really bringing our hands down to the mat. So go ahead and give your body a moment to work through your first downward facing dog of the class. And whatever that means for you, working through one leg at a time, pressing the heel a little bit deeper towards the earth to explore that space from the back side of the legs, pressing the chest down towards the mat, down towards the ankles. And open the upper back just a little bit more. And the next 2 breaths, just find some movement, working your way towards stillness. And your next breath, settle into center. Shift your way into the left leg, right leg lifts up high or as high as you feel comfortable. Then drive the right knee in towards the chest. And then toes come between the hands. Spin the left heel back and down behind you. So we're coming into warrior legs here. Right hand comes inside the right arch of the foot. And then the left arm sweeps up and over, coming into a true side angle here. So grounding down through the soles of the feet, grounding down through the big toe, inner arch lifts. Using that contact between the right elbow and the right knee to spin the chest towards the left side of the room. As before, feel free to bring the right forearm to the right thigh to find that space, to find a little bit more ease and comfort here. Pressing the right knee out just a little bit, engaging the outer edge of the hip, staying grounded through the soles of the feet. And wherever you are, you're going to reach the left arm up towards the sky. So rather than reaching forward, reaching the left arm up, and then shifting your weight back and towards the left hip, straightening the right leg. Coming into triangle pose. Staying strong within the right thigh. Feel free to shorten your stance as you need, again, to find ease and comfort in this pose. Keep the chest lifted and open towards the left side. If you brought a block, you can always bring it underneath the fingertips, or you can just rest the right hand on the shin. To stay lifted and strong within the right side. And then from here, use the strength in your legs and your torso, and you're going to pinwheel the arms up, 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 coming through warrior arms, and then reversing your triangle. So left hand comes onto the back of the left thigh, and right arm spins up and overhead. Open the right side. Staying strong through the legs, lifted through the torso. Keeping as little weight as you can through that left hand. And then spin the hands to frame the right foot. Spin the left toes forward. And then we're going to come into extended pyramid pose. So shifting the hips back, so spinning the right hip back, left hip forward just a little bit more. Bringing the torso over the right leg. Folding forward. Finding space. Keeping everything long, lifted, and engaged. Again, find that spin of the hips to find everything facing forward. And go ahead and plant the hands. Rebend the right leg so you can bring it back behind you. And then come back to downward facing dog. Coming onto the left side, shift your weight onto the right. Left leg lifts. And then bend the right knee as the left knee drives in towards the chest. Propelling yourself forward. Find that compression for the left toes to come between the hands. Spin the right heel down, coming into warrior legs. Left hand comes inside the inner arch of the left foot, and then right arm sweeps up and over, opening the chest towards the right side. Finding that side angle. Use any modifications you need to fill in the space between your body and the mat. So keeping that effort of pulling the left rib cage underneath you towards the right side and opening the right rib cage up a little bit further towards the sky. Reaching the right fingertips long. Being as spacious as you can, as open as you can. Then go ahead and reach the right arm towards the sky. Start to shift the weight back into the right hip as the left leg comes to straight. Feel free to rest your fingertips on the earth, keeping them there, or resting onto the shin, finding that length within the left side body. Reaching the fingertips towards the sky to encourage the torso to stay strong and lifted. Gaze can come up, or it can stay down to the mat, wherever you're most comfortable. And then staying strong in the legs and the hips and the torso. Pinwheel the arms up so you're reaching the right fingertips back as the left fingertips reach forward. Keeping the legs as strong as you can. Right hand then comes to the back of the thigh. Left arm reaches up and over, expanding the left side of the body. Reaching the left part of your chest up towards the sky. Reaching the fingertips back behind you. And then pinwheel the arms, the hands down to the earth. Spin the right toes towards the front of the mat, heel faces back behind you, and then shift the weight back once more, extended pyramid pose. Spin the right hip forward, left hip back. Reach the chest over the left toe. And fold. finger plant the hands. Rebend the left knee, dragging the left knee in towards the chest. You can reach it back behind you once more to come back into downward facing dog. Take a moment to settle here into downward facing dog. And then start to walk the feet up towards the hand, taking a slow count to 10, 9, 8, keep pressing through the palms of the hands, 7, finding space within the shoulder blades, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Toes come to the heels of the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up, bend the knees, ground down through the soles of the feet, unraveling the body. Arms reach overhead, coming into standing. And exhale, hands come through heart center, hinge the hips, bend the knees, fold forward. Fingertips come to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Ground down through the earth. Keeping the knees bent, unhinge, unravel. Coming back towards standing. Arms reach overhead. Stretching the body all the way out. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, you're going to sit down into chair. Oh. So sitting the hips straight back behind you. Stay engaged the outer edges of the thighs, of the hips of the knees. So stay engaged, feeling that turn on, feeling the lift of the inner thigh, the grounding down through the big toe. The strength all the way through the lower body. Belly button tucked in towards the spine, staying strong within the core. Reaching the chest up, reaching the chest forward, I should say. Fingertips reach up. Sitting low for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, hands come to heart center, legs straighten. Inhale, arms sweep up once more. Then exhale, forward, fold. Hinge at the hips. Letting that soft bend of the knees stay as the fingertips come to the earth. Letting the head hang heavy. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And next inhale, come onto your toes. Knees bend, hips come to heels. Coming into toe stance. Just for a moment, as you drop the heels down, the knees down to the earth. Staying with your toes tucked. Sweep the arms down, press the hips up and forward as the arms reach up overhead. Inhale and exhale, hands to heart center, sit low. Once more. Press down through the toes, down through the knees. Hips come forward, arms sweep up. Exhale. Sit hips to heels. Come back up onto your toes. Toe stand for just a moment, and then allow the heels to come to the earth, hips come to the earth, feet come out in front of you, and then roll onto your back. As you come flat onto your back, allow your arms to come out wide, and just windshield your wiper your hips side to side. Opening up the low back, soft rhythmic motions of the hips. And then come back towards center. Right ankle crosses over left thigh. Feel free to stay here, staying mindful, present, activated within the legs. Or you can go ahead and bring the left leg in towards the chest. Wherever you are, whether you're coming in towards your chest or staying in the starting position, keep a gentle press to the outer edge of the right knee towards the top right corner of the mat. Keep the hip open, find a little bit more depth. Breathing into any sensation that you're feeling here in this pose. With every inhale, take all that you're feeling in, pulling it in, and then exhale, finding a little bit more space, finding a little bit more depth. So inhale, taking it in, exhale, press a little bit further. Go ahead and drop the left foot towards the earth, staying right where you are, keeping the legs in this position, and then allowing everything to fall towards the right. So this is going to find a little bit more space within the left hip, the left side body, keeping the right ankle anchored just outside the right knee, the left knee. Just allowing the body to fall open. If you need to open everything up a little bit more, if you need to take your left heel away from your bottom just a little bit more, that might bring a little bit more ease. Keep giving your body some time to melt down, trying to release any unnecessary tension. Inhale back towards center. Keep in this position, making any adjustments to come back to that starting point once more, and then allow everything to fall towards the left. You can grab hold of the right ankle to keep that anchor between the ankle and the top of the thigh. If that's too intense, you can always bring the right foot to the inner thigh so that it's propped up on top of the leg rather than crossed over it. Whenever you come into these more, I wouldn't say complicated, but when you have your body in positions that aren't necessarily natural to you and something that you do day to day, if you find that this position is awkward or there's too much going on for you in your body, never feel like you have to force it. Just give yourself the opportunity to take one step back. So for this position, having that ankle anchored over the thigh can make the sensation kind of intense on the hips. So if this compression, this tighter knit spot is too much, take one step out of it. By bringing the foot to the inside of the inner thigh. Inhale, come back towards center. Drop the right foot, left ankle comes across the right thigh. Feel free to stay here. Again, staying mindful, pressing the left knee back up towards the top of the mat. Maybe scooting your right foot in a little bit closer. Easy ways to find some modifications there. But if you'd like to come a little bit deeper, draw the right knee in towards the chest. Grab hold just below the right knee and pull everything in. Keeping that gentle effort, the outer edge of the knee towards the top of the mat. And then using those inhales to take in the sensations that you're feeling. And then if on that inhale it still feels pretty intense, you're at a solid spot, just exhale and settle into where you're at. But if on that inhale everything's feeling really good and you want to see what space you have yet to explore, on that exhale, draw in just a little bit further. Use that exhale to either stay or explore. And I just noticed it on myself that I was bringing my right knee in towards kind of the middle of my chest. So I was letting everything hang out towards the left a little bit. So to get a deeper sensation, a little bit more movement here, keep your right knee aimed directly towards the tip of your right shoulder. That'll get a little bit deeper in towards the outer edge of the left hip here. See, we get lazy too. One more breath here. And then drop the right foot back towards the earth and allow everything as it is to fall over towards the left. You can keep the right heel in towards your bottom, or you can open it up a little bit more. The right side body into the rib cage, keeping that depth of breath even here at the end of class. Allowing the legs to melt into the earth, trying not to hold on to unnecessary tension, holding everything up. Let it all fall down. And make any adjustments you need to make that more comfortable, more acceptable. Inhale back up towards center, readjust as you need, and then to allow everything to fall over to the right. You can always tuck the left foot in a little bit higher onto the thigh. Press the left knee out towards the top right corner of the mat. If you want to explore more range of motion. And letting go of any tension elsewhere in the body. The majority of what you're feeling should be in the outer left hip, the left thigh, maybe a little bit into the back of the hip. So that should be a majority of where you're focused, where your breath is going to. If you feel it anywhere else, try to let that go. Inhale back towards center. Unravel the left leg. And then stretch both legs out towards the top of the mat. Coming into your final rest, your Shavasana here. Now allow your legs to come nice and wide. Letting the toes splay out. Allow gravity to open the hips. Open everything up. And giving your body a chance to just sink into the earth. Making any minor adjustments, any fidgets that you need to feel the most at ease. As you come into this final effortless pose. And as always, stay in Shavasana for as long as you need. Thank you so much for practicing with me, and I look forward to seeing y'all next time.